Okay, looks like we're live. Welcome back to the Astragoth Ironhand easy to watch campaign. This is day 4. Last time we successfully confederated all the other Chaos Dwarf factions using the Tower of Zar, and now we have a war on two fronts. We have our war in the east against Grimgor's Ardboys, and we have our war in the west against the endgame crisis, which is the Wild Hunt. So lots of wood elves. Let's go ahead and see if we can fix our labor situation before we move on. There's some excess labor, there's some excess, and there's some excess. Just kidding, that's not excess. I read that wrong. And I think it's better to get this efficiency up a little bit more. Oh, but I can't because I have no money. Okay, let's go ahead and end turn. What do you want, Festus? Military access and you'll give me money? Sold. Okay, start with Lagazor here. We can go to Gristle Valley. Easy auto-resolve. Occupies outpost. Of course, going to be building as many walls as possible because there are a lot of wood elves around here. Yeah, more labor is good. Labor is the first thing that I want to fix. 28. It would probably make sense to have the raw materials gathered in one province next time, because there's just so much management that you need to do of it if you have a lot of provinces. I'd rather not have to do that. Okay, that's all the raw materials that we have. Looks like we can build a couple more things, but not very much. We're pretty broke. Now back to the battle in the west, or the east, sorry. Great Hall of Garesis. This should be a pretty easy... yep, pretty easy auto-resolve. Okay, hopefully the stream is back. I have Zata in the black, but I'm not sure... I definitely don't want to start another war for no reason. Dolgan has no military but 10 settlements. That's pretty tempting, actually. Sure, why not? Let's start a war in the north as well. And that should do it for this turn. Oh, I have another lord. That's right, I have Drazoath now. Oh boy, I guess the best thing for Draz is going to be to go join the fight against Grimgor's Ardboys. Okay, internet is struggling. Standard. Got lots of skill points to use. Bull Centaur. There's really not anything else to do, so I suppose we'll go into Specialist. This one, I can go Survivalist to make sure that it is even stronger in auto-resolve and even better at not dying. Astragoth, I'm going to send here into the heart of the Wood Elves, and then I can have Lagazor deal with the ones in the mountains. I think that should be fine. Now that I have this, I can't actually build anything other than advanced buildings, which I don't have the money to buy advanced units, so there's really no point in that. There is a convoy dispatch available. I'll dispatch what I have. That'll be that for that turn. Blow and Leoncoeur, non-aggression pact, sure thing. Help me with the Wild Hunt. I need to close the diplomacy thing. There we go. Grimgor Ironhide is still just standing there menacingly. Okay, Astragoth. Biggest thing with the Wood Elves is they have crazy amounts of attrition, but I can actually make it straight to King's Glade. And I'm going to occupy that as Tower Level 2. I think I can get the last Tower of Zar seat. Yes, I can. Okay, so the tower is complete. So now all of my Conclave influence can be used on towers to make them as high tier as possible when I capture them. Do I have enough labor? It's my issues. I have an extra 400, 200 there, and we do need a lot of labor. Okay, the labor is now a bit better. We're up to 96%. Let's move all the lords before we do buildings. Can't quite reach the Grimhold, which is a bit sad. Gorth the Cruel. No more greenskins there, so we'll go to Grimtop. Luckily with Grimgor further north, for some reason, I can basically walk through all of this, and it's not really a concern. Hopefully this gets me to Pig Barter. Yes, it does. Let's check on the status of Grimgor's Arboys. 7 settlements left, and then, of course, Grimgor himself is up there. Any other lords? Zatan the Black. What does this fight get me? Raider's Bluff. Just gets me 1,000 gold. That's not really worth it. I would much rather deal with Grimgor once and for all. And what are you? Okay, so I'm gonna have him meet up with Zatan the Black. Extra mobility is always good. Let's deal with the skill points. This is Astragoth. I have... Okay, yeah, I think it's time to go for Cunning, because there's going to be a lot of Wood Elf forces, and I want to make sure that I can fight them one at a time, or at least give myself the best chance to fight them one at a time. More unassigned skill points, so I'm going to max out for all of the convoys, the blue unique stuff at the bottom. I don't really care about how good of fighters they are, because they're not directly fighting my important enemies. Okay, that takes care of all the lords for the turn. Are either of these useful? Income is useful. I'd like to see if there's... Yes, perfect. Any of those, any of the towers that I can upgrade. Because that's going to be my biggest thing that I use the raw materials on. Commandment available. Oh, because I captured King's Glade. Okay, my control is totally fine. Do the construction cost one, although I don't have enough labor to really rush it. And that should be it for the turn. What do you want, Polak? They just want me to join a random war for no reason. So, no. I don't know why I would do that. Wargrove of Woe is attacking a random convoy. I don't mind the Pyrrhic Victory. And I am going all in on labor. I really need the labor to work out. Let's try to fight this. Because I don't want this Wargrove of Woe army attacking my settlements. I don't really care about the convoy surviving, but I can't have this army running around. They have no ranged units. Of course, I've lost most of my ranged units. I didn't realize there was a second army. Otherwise, I would have taken the casualty replenishment. That's okay. We'll see how it goes. Balance of power does not look very good. Let's go ahead and take a little bit of a high ground position. It's not much of one. And this guy isn't a spellcaster, so really going to have to rely on my side abilities. I do have 2 bombardments, and a potion of healing. We can speed up the battle, because they're just going to walk over here. 2 treemen, some war beasts, cave bats. Okay, we're about to start shooting. The damage is good. The damage is very good. We want these Kadai Fireborn in the battle as soon as possible. And now we can do our bombardments. And let's just buff everybody's defense. I have another bombardment. I think there is the best place to do it. Yeah, balance of power is not spectacular. I can heal, which is going to make a big difference. That was a sick bombardment. That was actually huge. But not for the balance of power. The balance of power doesn't care. But it felt good. Oh my god, that's right. They have skirmish mode on. Losing that extra DPS is really unfortunate. I don't know that it'll make the difference. 102 to 204. I need 1 more bombardment right there. Or in one of these 2. I don't know if it's quite enough. I need to focus fire the tree man because he's unbreakable. The other ones I can make run, but not him. Wrath of Tsar. Luckily, these blunderbusses are doing a ton of damage. This guy's got a bunch of health. Continuing to focus fire the Lord. I'm thinking bombardment here, wind right there. We're gonna pop at about the same time. 85 to 143. So we're actually trading well in terms of numbers. Let's see how much damage this wind does before I decide where the bombardment goes. Yeah, I definitely want to bombard right there. I'm going to pull my lord back just out of the range. That didn't do as much damage as I'd hoped. But the balance of power is actually starting to trend in our direction. 70 to 93. Blunderbuss is doing absolutely insane amounts of damage. My lord is level 8, this lord is level 3, so the one-on-one combat could actually work out. Like I said, I don't care about this army surviving, I just care about the enemy army not surviving. We've got some wavering forces over here. This will be good, immune to psychology and extra armor and melee defense. That's going to help a lot for this battle against this monster. Running really, really low on troops. 76 to 67, but still amazingly catching up on total unit count. And there should be the last, not quite the last of the damage. Come on, blunderbusses, don't let me down. And it looks like balance of power is tilting our way. These two are unbreakable, but this is the last unit. Enemy lord is dead. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. That is fantastic. I'm really, really happy with that. We lost half the troops, totally decimated this army. More than decimated, because decimate is 1 in 10. This army is no longer a threat. I'm not sure if they'll get a new lord and be able to continue to be annoying, but that is what it is. Really, really pleased with the global effects that the Chaos Dwarfs have. Okay, Pyrrhic victory. Once again, I'm going for labor. Oh no! They are attacking us again. How many armies is this? Okay, that's fine. Just gonna continue to fight the Wargrove of Woe. I can't believe this same thing happened twice in a row, where I thought about getting casualty replenishment, said no, I'm gonna get the labor, and then another army came to attack. Now this army should be pretty easy to deal with. They're all relatively low tier. The biggest problem is going to be this lord, which is probably another unbreakable lord. We'll have to see how it goes. Blunderbusses are definitely going to be working overtime on that guy. And it's the same map, so we're gonna put the same position. I'm not sure how. I think this is the remnants of the army we just fought. Maybe not. I'm gonna heal right away. That's huge for balance of power. Honestly, my units are not strong enough to fight this. It's all going to be about these abilities and these two bombardments. Same thing, we can pick up the pace a little bit. We'll do a little bit of a rotation. A little bit more. Is he unbreakable? Oh, he's not unbreakable. Still want to do as much damage to him as possible. Let's get the Kadai Fireborn into the picture right away. Those are my strongest units, so I want to deal with a Lord. I have essentially no hope if I have to fight this battle all the way through. I need them to rout. I think the wind is actually going to serve me better here. I'm not sure that that served me very well. Doom of Hashut. I want to protect my blunderbusses. There we go. That bombardment was sick. Balance of power is automatically even after that. These Kadai Fireborn aren't going to last forever, but they are tying up the tree men nicely. It looks like the cave bats are good. We'll go back to fighting the tree men. My lord alone can deal with that. And I'm going to go ahead and bombard here because I don't care about the Kadai Fireborn surviving. These are just temporary units anyway. Maybe that wasn't worth it. Well, it's fine. The unit disappeared right after that. Cave bats are out of the picture. Now it's... they're not quite out of the picture. They're coming back. Lots of damage from these blunderbusses. So glad I have the upgrades on them. We got the dub. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Get the last shot off. Get that tree man. Let's go. Heroic victory. Just a couple of blunderbusses and a reasonably strong hero, a reasonably strong lord. You can win a lot of really satisfying battles as a Chaos Dwarfs. This isn't even a legendary lord, it's just some guy. Okay, I guess I'll get an extra 9 labor. Alright, so that army just defeated 3 Wargrove of Woe armies. And one of them was on auto-resolve, so I could have done way better if I'd manually resolved. Yes, give me money for non-aggression pact. That is fantastic. What do you want, Olaf? Join war? No, I'm still not going to join that war. Trade agreement, yes. Lots of these factions are starting to want to do diplomacy with me, and I'm not entirely sure why. I'm guessing it's because I'm fighting the endgame crisis. Man, being able to auto-resolve the Oak of Ages is amazing. Oh, but I can't do anything. It's just Oak of Ages pacified. We have Durthu right here, but he's leading an absolutely trash force. Let's occupy his factory. We're getting 7,000 raw materials a turn and only 143 armaments, so we can start to switch into that. Next, Lord Gorth the Cruel. There are... Oh, I guess we'll just get the Grimgor's Ardboys settlement that's right there. Once again, factory. Let's take a look at the victory conditions. 64 of 80. We're going really far into the long campaign victory. And we've successfully destroyed one of the factions of the of the 8 that we need to destroy for the endgame crisis. So it's going pretty decently. Before this guy fights, I'll get another... Let's do Hellhammer. Probably is going to be an auto-resolve, but I want to give myself as many tools as possible in case it's not an auto-resolve. And see, now that I have all the tower slots, I'm able to just immediately upgrade my mini towers. I have the Tower of Tsar slots. Of course, I can't occupy this one as a tower at higher level because I just spent all my money. I'm just trying to fortify this as much as possible because I don't really know if any more threats are going to come from this side. Zatan the Black. Is Grimgor still standing around? Ooh, Grimgor is coming towards us. So since we get 10,000 extra gold a turn, I think it's actually... Yeah, instead of... Oh my god, there's no walls on this settlement. No, why? Wait, I guess I should check. Can you build walls? Yes, you can. Okay, why are there no walls on, like, the main settlement? Level 11. Is that the strongest lord that I have available? It is. Okay. Sorcerer Prophet of Death. That's pretty good. I'm gonna go all in on the defense. What are the best units I can get in one turn? I guess trolls, probably? This is really an uncomfortable situation suddenly. Yeah, I mean, I'm just have to spam as much as I can. What is the default? Defenders? Oh my god, there's a lot of defenders. Okay, maybe it's fine. But I still am gonna hustle over here with Zatan the Black. Because once Grimgor himself is dead, the rest of the Ardboys are going to be pretty easy to deal with. Astragoth, one more level of Cunning, and finally got the maximum tree for that hero. Lots of skill points. Oh my god. This is the lord that just fought like 3 different armies. So I got 3 levels, which, yeah, that math checks out. Another level of Hellhammer. And in terms of dealing with so many lords and heroes, I'm essentially just trying to max out any lines that I can in the most useful way possible. Because generally, the skill at the end of the line is the best one. Not always, but it's worth getting to. Alright, let's get the new commandment from the Oak of Ages. That doesn't help, that doesn't help, that doesn't help. So I guess it's going to be control +2. Another commandment. Oh, we got pig barter. That one, we're going to do the construction. And I think that is the end turn. And I will be back in 1 second. That 1 second was me going to the restroom and forgetting to turn my microphone back on. So for the rest of this video, you're going to have a little bit of a voiceover from me, sort of explaining what was going on through my mind and some of the things that I was talking about. Sorry for the bit of an inconvenience, but that's okay. That is why this is a shorter video, because there's not too much to say in the late game here. Basically, with all of my lords, I was just focused on maxing out first their magic and then maybe some of their blue traits. It's still primarily auto-resolved. Basically, I had Logazor there on the high ground to try to deal with the high ground settlements. This was the point where I was finishing off Grimgor's Ardboys because that was a requirement for a long campaign victory, which would get me 3 new unique items. I was mostly focusing on labor as well. At this point, the biggest concern that I had was actually getting my armies around the map in order to get to the victory conditions. I was essentially turning down every single bit of diplomacy at this point because I just had no need to work with anybody else. This was one of the more intense battles of the day, me versus one of the Wood Elf stacks, and I believe this was a settlement garrison that I got. This doesn't look like the type of unit composition that I was really going for at this stage, and I knew that I was pretty outmatched, as you can tell by the balance of power bar. However, I thought that with my bombardment on the right side of the screen, you can see, and with my Lord's bombardments, I would be able to hold on. You can see there it's pretty effective at clearing out these Wood Elf units. However, I accidentally lost my Lord earlier in this battle, and that made it so that one of the bombardments wasn't able to go off. The biggest issue I had here was that their ranged units were attacking my blunderbusses directly, and blunderbusses do a lot of damage, but they can't take a lot of damage. So, because the blunderbusses are the majority of my armor-piercing damage at this point, I wasn't able to win that battle. I was making good progress in the Wood Elf home area. I had Logazor there going for Karak Asgaraz, and then he was going to meet Astragoth on the low ground. At long last, I was able to deal with the last of Grimgor's Ardboys, which put me only a couple settlements away from a long campaign victory. I was, at this point, getting enough armaments in order to further upgrade my units, like they were before the Confederations went into effect and I had to downgrade them. At this point, I had a few settlements that I needed to occupy, one in the far north, one in the far south, and one in the far west. So other than the battles here, which you can see were essentially all auto-resolved, I was mostly focused on moving my lords around. Suddenly I had a declaration of war against me in the far east, so I had to build another lord, and I decided to outfit him with some pretty high-tiered units. My tech tree, which was up briefly, is essentially full. I'm basically just clicking on the top-level upgrades because I'm so far ahead there's really nothing left that I need to worry about. I was clearing out some Skaven infestation here and getting the last few settlements that I needed for the long campaign victory. The Wargrove of Woe in the upper right was one of the last factions that I had to get rid of. The Knights of Calidor decided to attack me here, and I found that I wasn't able to auto-resolve, so I was merging units because damaged units are heavily punished in auto-resolve. However, I went back into the battle, and it was still not enough, so I brought my reinforcing army up to go deal with that, and then it was a pretty easy clear. By this point as well, I had enough Conclave influence. I was essentially settling every tower at level 5, which was a really nice campaign mechanic, and I wish I'd used it more earlier in the game. I definitely will be using that with some of the other legendary lords. Now right there, I got my 80th settlement occupied, which gave me a long campaign victory, gave me a few items which were good but not spectacular, so it's not really worth talking about them. At this point, Logazor is just tracking down the rest of the Wood Elves in that area. Zatan the Black is going after the Wargrove of Woe and one of the settlements that you have to occupy in order to get the campaign victory. I had to sail my troops around to get to one of the settlements in Lustria because it would have taken a lot longer to actually walk. At this point, I'm building up my lords with basically any ability that I can click on quickly because there were so many things going on that around this point I would give up on developing my settlements at all because I just had too many of them. I had over 80 settlements. I think by the end of the game it was something like 100, and even though I had money, it just wasn't worth the time to upgrade because there were not that many turns that were going to be left. So there you see I got Lorelorn Forest, and this is the last battle of the Wargrove of Woe, which is one of the factions you have to eliminate in the Wild Hunt. Next and last, I had to take out the Heralds of Ariel. You can see the Sisters of Twilight sailed out near northern Ulthuan, and I was able to kill them pretty easily with Astragoth Ironhand. Now I was about to land on the left side of the map. Zatan the Black was time to just go ahead and wait in one of the required settlements for victory. He was too far away to help at all with the victory condition. I decided to build up the Twisted Glade into a unit manufacturing settlement so that I could get a second and potentially a third lord to help me clear out the Heralds of Ariel. Of course, I decided to build him with a bunch of high-tech units as well because they're awesome. You can see my money's starting to get really high. I was able to do a bunch of sacrifices and get something like 30,000 gold in one turn. Again, very useful. I had mostly used sacrifices in order to get influence previously, but I'm at the point in the game now where the money is essentially irrelevant, so I didn't worry about it after that. Khazwath there is taking Orion's camp, which is another one of the settlements that you have to take. The last one was in the Heralds of Ariel territory, so conveniently enough, I already had Astragoth on the way over there. You can see again in that tower, all of the building slots were unlocked, and I still have over 1,000 Conclave influence. With some of the tech, you get a lot more Conclave influence, and I had so many buildings generating it that it wasn't an issue anymore. Now, one thing to note is that I'm still getting settlements. I'm occupying them instead of raising, and the reason for that is because I want to have vision of the map to make sure that no Heralds of Ariel units get around me. This was one of the most fun parts of the campaign for me, using these destroyers. They look so cool and do so much damage, and I was really happy to finally get to use them. And they pretty much demolished every single unit. I can see why they are tier 5 and very expensive. At this point, because of tower perks, I had capacity for something like 9 of them. So I would be really interested to see in a potential domination game what a Doom stack of those was really capable of, because I suspect it'd do pretty well. Just continuing to auto-solve, get my troops into the right places, because you have quite a bit of casualty replenishment on these lords that I'm recruiting, because I'm recruiting them at something like level 17 at this point, so they're already quite strong. I did get one defeat there because Luanli and Kerr decided to start taking out some of my settlements on the other part of the continent, and I just couldn't be bothered to deal with it. There I took the Witchwood. That was the last of the settlements that you have to get in order to get the victory, and you can see in the turn end I'm just skipping everything at this point because I don't want to deal with all of those extra notifications. It just doesn't help me at all. Now at this point there were only 2 or 3 settlements left. Just easy auto-resolve with these super high-tech units, and the Heralds of Ariel would get down to their last settlement right here. I attacked, and somehow one unit escaped in the top, so I attacked it, and easy auto-resolve, but somehow it escaped again, and then I finally was able to attack it and win the game. And that's when someone in chat told me my mic was off. Oh my god. Well, that is really interesting. This was like a 2.5 hour stream, and I don't know when I turned that off. So, yeah, that's fantastic. That's fine. We got Astragoth campaign done. Oh my god. Oh, the technical issues of just starting to stream. You gotta love it. Finally got the video working, and now the audio is the struggle. Wow, that's incredible. Okay, well, yeah, I guess that's gonna be it. Sorry you showed up at the end, but I'll have to figure out how to edit this video without any sound. That's fine. Anyway, I'll be streaming again tomorrow with a different Chaos Dwarfs campaign. My plan was to play them back to back so that people could decide what they want to do. Good job on the campaign completion. Thank you very much. Yeah, oh man. Oh, the microphone thing. That's so funny. Okay, that's fine. Hopefully I'll see you next time. Have a good one.